Hello and welcome to this James the Bike Guy, where we're getting to take a look at a super cool and totally updated Santa Cruz Megatower. This is the V2 second version of the Santa Cruz Megatower, and it's come out with integrated frame storage, revised geometry, and a brand new leverage curve to really make it a jack of all trades. So in this video, we're gonna go into those features and designs, talk about the bike, and then of course, we're gonna find out exactly what it weighs. So go ahead and stick with me and consider subscribing if you like what you see. So to begin our conversation about the Santa Cruz Megatower, I want to first go over where this bike came from. So the Santa Cruz Megatower has been out for a few years. It's been their entry as an enduro brawler with 29-inch wheels for the Enduro World Series. And that bike was set up with modern geometry, 160 millimeters of front and rear travel, and it really required you to get some high speed behind the bike for it to come alive. And that was all very typical because as an enduro race bike, you need something that's going to act like a DH bike but still get to the top. And well, for 2022 and the V2 version of the Santa Cruz Megatower, they took that capability, they bumped it up a bit, now with 170 up front and 165 out back, but then they changed the special sauce with adjusting the VPP suspension that's in the back of this bike to have a more consistent, lower leverage curve, which essentially allows them to make this bike have a consistent feel so you don't get any surprises through the bottom out phase of the bike. And they were able to do that by lengthening the stroke of the shock to 62.5 millimeters. And then they went ahead and they dialed in the geometry. So this particular bike is going to have ever so slightly more aggressive geometry than before. So in the case of your reach, you're coming in at 452 millimeters of reach and 627 millimeters of stack. So just slightly longer than the V1 version in a size medium, but quite a bit taller. And then the head tube angle is slacking out from a V1 version of 65 degrees to this bike is either 63.5 or 63.8, depending on the flip chip position. You also get a steeper seat tube angle of 77.5 or 77.8, depending on the flip chip, compared to the 76.7 that came in the prior bike. But it doesn't quite stay there because the other thing that changes is they now have size-specific chainstays. So this is where, as the bike gets bigger, the chainstay or the rear center, so I'm talking from axle in the back to where the pedals are on the bike, will elongate the larger the bike gets. So this particular rig is in a small, would come with a 436 millimeter chainstay, or all the way up to an extra large, it would lengthen out to 448. And they're basically doing those adjustments to allow this bike's geometry to dial in to the rider size rather than having one specific set and then just scaling the frame. So going into a few more things that have changed on the V2 version of the bike, you do still have that lower VPP suspension setup. It does have a flip chip, a high and a low position, and the frame set here, this is the C version with an S build, which means this is the base level carbon build. They do make a CC version, which is even higher. You can see through the blue tinted clear coat and see the carbon on the frame, which is really neat. But yeah, they have finally jumped on board with internal frame storage. So this is a spot that, you know, a lot of bikes didn't used to have, but have really become something important in the world of buying a bike. And if you haven't had a bike with internal frame storage, you won't entirely get it. But basically, it's this plate that comes off. Your water bottle cage would normally be mounted to it. But what it allows for is the ability to run bags on the inside, which would carry the stuff that you would need, the gear you would need, out on a ride. Now, something neat, Santa Cruz always has to do it up. They've got a real tight seal on this box. It's definitely going to be as close to weatherproof as you get, but it comes with two bags, an upper and a lower limit to be able to put the bags in, and does give you a chance to see the beautiful carbon, the raw carbon on the inside. But so basically those bags go in, you can put all your tools, a little bit of food, whatever you might want, and then you can just put the cover back on. It's got this nice latch, clicks down, even with the Santa Cruz logo on it. So all that is pretty standard. Of course, this bike in front of us is a size large, so you can get a C for the look here. And while I haven't gotten a chance to get out on one of these, I have talked with somebody who has, and they've given me a couple of pieces of information. First, this bike climbs better than the previous generation, the V1 version, and it does it while still being reasonably playful at lower speeds. Obviously, the bike's going to come alive a lot better the faster you go, because simply the geometry numbers with that super slack head tube angle is going to require a bit of speed before it's going to start feeling natural. Aside from that, you know, this being 170 millimeters and 165 out back, it's got a lot of suspension, but it's still reasonably capable to be able to ride on some all-mountain trails as well. So now let's dive into the nitty-gritties of the part spec. This being a CS build means it's a carbon frame, and S is one up from the very bottom build set. So here we're going to start by dialing in the suspension. This is the Fox Performance 38. This Performance 38 rocks a fit grip damper down low. You've got rebound and compression adjust up top, and then on the non-drive side you do have the capability, of course, to set up air pressure and get it dialed in for what you're looking for. That is going to be boost 15 by 110 up front, and then the shock in the back is going to be the new longer stroke Rockshox Super Deluxe Select. So the Super Deluxe Select is 230 millimeters eye to eye and a 62.5 millimeter stroke, which is going to work with the VPP suspension for that much more consistent, straightened out, lower leverage curve. And going through to the back of the bike is going to be a 1x12 drivetrain setup. So this 1x12 drivetrain has a 10 to 50 tooth cassette, which has 500% range. You've got the GX lunar rear derailleur, so you can run up to 52 if you swapped out that cassette. And then up front is going to be the SRAM GX crankset. This GX crankset with a narrow wide 30 tooth chainring, and it is set up with a one-up components bash guard. So it's tough to see in the video here because it's got the bash plate for the 30 tooth, but you've got a chain guide up top, bash guard down below. Super nice to see. Now, slowing the bike down is courtesy of some SRAM Code R brakes. These are the Enduro series brakes with large 4-piston calipers on the front and the rear, stopping on 6-bolt centerline rotors. While we're down here, this is, of course, the DT 370 hub set laced up to some race face AR wheels. In the back, it's got the LN Ratchet upgrade, so you do have a ratchet just like a 350 for a nice, quiet, very durable hub set. Now, wrapping those up are Maxxis tires. On the back, it's got the Maxxis Minion DHR2. The Minion DHR2 has lots of bite to it in a 29 by 2.4 inch. And out front is the Assegai in a 2.5. So the Assegai, very tall blocks, a lot of open space as well to be able to bite in. And this tire setup is not going to be the fastest rolling setup, but it does uses the max grip compounds and the exo protections, so it should be very sticky and very durable. Well, anyways, now that we've geeked out on some of the specs of this bike, it is time to find out what this weighs. Thanks so much for watching this video on the 2022 Santa Cruz Megatower. Go ahead and let me know your thoughts on this V2 version of the Megatower down in the comment section below. While you're at it, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and can't wait to see you in the next video.